Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new, hit that subscribe button. We cover a ton of NFL draft content as well as just NFL content in general. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel if that is something you are looking for. It's absolutely free to you. In today's video, we are going over the day two winners and losers. There were clear and obvious ones for me anyway. I thought this was an incredible draft so far. A lot of different things that we weren't expecting, and there was so much parity to it. It was absolutely awesome. So moving in first and foremost to our very first winner, that is the Tennessee Titans. Looking at what they were able to net, Nicholas Pettit-Freer, which is one of the better pass blockers in this entire draft. And I say that confidently, looking at the film, looking at his footwork, his whole body of work at Ohio State was impressive. There was just a couple of games that you could highlight. It's just like, I didn't feel super great about it. However, Nicholas Pettit-Freer is a good offensive lineman, very well could be a day one starter for this Tennessee Titans team. And I look at it as, they got him with really good value and definitely could be a difference maker in year one. And then the other one, and the more eye-catching one, the eye-popping one, is Malik Willis. This is a quarterback that is a true development project. He will be sitting behind Ryan Tannehill for a year or two. We don't really know what the timeline could be, but Malik Willis can be a franchise quarterback in this league. I firmly do believe that. You look at his, elite arm in terms of arm strength and also his athleticism, really separated him for me from these other quarterbacks that are in the class. I definitely like some of the other quarterbacks. However, Malik Willis is the one that really stood out to me. Considering he fell that far in the draft doesn't entirely shock me. However, I think they're big winners in all of this just because they were able to net a guy like Malik Willis so late in the draft, great value. And honestly, they just kind of let the draft board fall to them. So a lot of credit to the Tennessee Titans. I think they did a really good job. And hopefully, they can keep going on this path of, being a consistent AFC South contender, even the days after Ryan Tannehill. I think they're going to be very, very competitive and very much will stay in that division. So Malik Willis is one of those exciting prospects that you have to be juiced about if you're a Tennessee Titans fan. So a lot of credit to them in this organization for the game plan that they had going into this draft. Now, the next one I have is the Houston Texans. You have Jalen Pitre, John Mechie III, Christian Harris, all of these prospects I really liked. Jalen Pitre definitely had a ton of versatility at Baylor. He was an exciting prospect. They were able to get him. John Mechie III coming off of an injury. Definitely a playmaker at the next level. And I think that's what the Houston Texans need a little bit more of in this offense to help out Davis Mills in the long term. John Mechie III was a guy that was potentially thought of being a first round pick months and months and months ago. This is still while the early stages of the college football season. Obviously ends up getting injured, slides a little bit. However, he still could be a big time playmaker at the next level. So that's something that we have to consider. And also Christian Harris, another Alabama product. This guy, the sideline to sideline speed is there, great instincts, and a guy that could be a true leader of that second level of the Houston Texans defense. They did a really good job inserting some youth into this team, had a lot of draft pick capital to work with, obviously from the Deshaun Watson trade. There's so much that they were able to do, mix and match some of these picks. So I love Pitre, John Mechie III, Christian Harris. I think they're all key contributors in year one. Now, do I think the Texans are necessarily going to be competing for the division title? No. However, they have a really good foundation and base moving forward. So that's something you can kind of hang your hat on if you're a Texans fan. They were set up very, very well by some of the moves that they've made, specifically that Deshaun Watson one, put them in a really good position, in my opinion. I love Christian Harris. I think he went way under the radar. This is a guy, once again, that we were talking about potentially in that first round throughout the course of the season, ends up sliding a little bit more and more, but he is an impact defender for this defense. And I look at the Houston Texans as a definite winner. Another team, Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, considering DeMarvin Leal, once again, it all kind of stems from the idea that he was thought to potentially be a top 10 selection in this draft, showed some inconsistency. That was not something that, he was not really able to overcome during the pre-draft process. And also George Pickens. Without his injury, very well could have been a first-round pick. So this is something we have to consider. Some of these guys that went under the radar. George Pickens is an impact wide receiver, big frame, and he has a wide catch radius. I think that's really key for this Pittsburgh offense. They're bringing in Kenny Pickett and George Pickens in the same draft class. So really, really impressive there. But looking specifically at these two guys, once again, along that interior defensive line, DeMarvin Leal has shown so much versatility playing on the inside, also playing edge. There's a lot you can do with him. And I see the Pittsburgh Steelers using him as a chess piece along that defensive line, a guy that can do a lot of different things for you at a consistent level. And I think if a team's going to get something out of a player, it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, George Pickens is a monster of a wide receiver. I think once he's fully healthy and really establishes the rhythm once again, he very well could be one of the best wide receivers from this draft class, which is impressive considering coming off of that big ACL injury. Hopefully he can really regain form. And if he does, the Pittsburgh Steelers had an absolute haul here in day 2. Now, these are some of the other teams I'd like to highlight. I'd look at the Baltimore Ravens with Travis Jones. You look at the Seattle Seahawks with Boye Mafe. The Philadelphia Eagles came in super clutch there with Nakobe Dean, a very, very well could have been a first-round level player. And in my opinion, he should have been for sure. But some of the medicals with him opting out of surgery really pushed him down draft boards. That's something that you guys didn't know why he kept falling. That's the reason. And then finally, we had the Indianapolis Colts, and this Colts team did a really good job acquiring a lot of talent. And, Bernard Ryman's a name that comes to my mind, a player that hasn't been playing football for very long. However, he has some true upside, really good athlete at that tackle position. So I love what these 4 teams had done. And I just wanted to kind of quickly go through some of them, show them some love as well. Loser, Nakobe Dean. You have a winner and, the Philadelphia Eagles, but you also have a loser in Nakobe Dean. Him opting out of that surgery really cost him a lot. Went from potentially being a first-round level prospect and slides way down the draft boards, way further than people could even comprehend. Nakobe Dean, he's a terrific athlete, undersized linebacker, but at the end of the day, it did not bode well for him. Opting out of that surgery cost him millions and millions and millions of dollars. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of the situation. However, it made it really easy for the Eagles to be a true winner in this draft. And then the next one for me here is the QB class. You look at some of the players highlighted on the screen: Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, all these guys, Matt Corral being another one. Kenny Pickett ended up being a first-round pick. However, I'm looking at all these quarterbacks, and it was just a disappointing showing. Desmond Ridder ends up in an interesting situation currently in Atlanta. Sam Howell still waiting to be taken. Malik Willis is obviously in a good position in Tennessee to be able to sit and then have weapons later on. But I think this QB class, we knew it was going to be kind of a dud when it came to draft time, but I didn't think it was going to be this drastic. That's not something I was expecting at all from this draft class. I didn't see this many guys sliding that deep into the draft. Specifically, Malik Willis is the one that really shocked me. I thought somebody would have fallen in love with his traits and probably had taken him the earlier part of the second round, considering he had fell out of the first, but that just did not happen. So there's a lot of crazy things that can happen during this NFL draft. I think it's pretty clear and obvious that there's so much that can go on throughout the course. Trends are crazy. You look at the wide receiver trend. So many wide receivers went off the board in this draft so far in the first 3 rounds, which was absolutely wild. But the QB class was underwhelming. And I think that cannot be overstated enough. And looking at some of the guys' situations, it worked out for Malik Willis. Desmond Ridder, he has a shot at being a starter, so that's what you can say about him. And then, we're still kind of waiting on some of the other quarterbacks. Matt Corral's obviously going to have a chance to be a starter as well. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit the subscribe button. Also leave a like on today's video if you did enjoy the content. Thank you so much again for stopping by. I appreciate all the support. Let me know in the comment section below who the big winners were from this draft.